What's up, Pikes Peak RC Arena race news around the nation? I am Robbie to give you guys the latest and greatest news from here and abroad, all over. And here we are in the Pikes Peak RC Arena dungeon. Just want to let you guys know what's going on and stuff like that. But today's topic, we're going to talk about the e-truggy and the nitro truggy. All right, and my experience so far with both of them. Now, I'm not going to go too much in the driving aspect. I'll probably touch up on a little bit of it because I have not driven this yet. But I'm going to go on from what I've experienced so far, dealing with them, getting the stuff that I need for them, so on and so forth. And I'll tell you what, talk about differences. I tell you what, it's a totally different world. Again, just introduced to the 8-scale buggy and truggy stuff, probably about 2 months now, and I tell you what, it's been a great experience. I blame Extreme RC Raceway. I love you guys, miss you guys, but no. Again, they got me into that, and I tell you what, man, it's been fun. My son got to drive it, his e-truggy, which is right here, just a couple days ago, and he loves it. So again, he enjoys it actually more than carpet, from what he's told me. So he can't wait to race this weekend, and that's what I've been prepping for and stuff like that. Unfortunately, I'm not going to have the nitro ready. Still a lot of things with the nitro that I still got to do, and we'll go ahead and get into that. But other than that, going on around here in Colorado, we got Cole's Hot Lap Hobbies down there in Pueblo. He's got a full rack schedule. Go ahead, check it out. He has been doing awesome entry count, so on and so forth. I give it up to Cole for what he is doing. Still trying to get the downstairs done and stuff like that. But hey, no worries, that will get done. That will get done. So you 10-scale drivers will have a lot of fun down there in all the room. Right now, it's temporarily upstairs. Yes, it is small, but he has a place for you guys to drive, okay? Other than that, he is doing well with 1RC and Mini Z. I'm seeing a lot of the podiums, so it looks like Mini Z is making a comeback down here in Springs and Pueblo, and I love that. I absolutely miss my Mini Z stuff. Matt Kyle up here in Springs has the Faster Laps race this weekend, October 12th, this Sunday. Hey, bring them kids out. They're on fall break. I guess that's what it's called these days now. We never got any of that, but they're in fall break. Bring them out this Sunday over at Faster Laps, right off of 94, right over at Ram and Aztec off-road parts. It's right there. The racetrack is right there. As soon as you enter through the gate, you cannot miss it. Yeah, it's an awesome blast, and it looks like the weekend's going to be very great this weekend, so that's a good thing. Also, going farther north, we got Chapel Hills Mall. They still have their little rock crawling venue going on, which is actually pretty cool. I have not met the owner yet, but they do a little cool rock crawling, micro crawling and stuff like that. We got JT, again, he's got brand new carpet, having fun doing oval over there. 5280, hey, again, they have carpet now for off-road. They have an off-road genre set up over there on top of their on-road and their Mini Z program. And again, Mini Z World Cup coming up here shortly this November. Hey, that is not one race to miss. All right, but again, if you guys want to get back into that off-road carpet, hey, hit up Arch Screamo. All right, then we got Eric Adams over there with the Moore Raceway. Hey, I'm gonna tell you right now, those guys, they doing wonders. John told me he had a great experience over there, driving over there on his new glue track. Hey, you guys love carpet, AstroTurf and clay. Hey, go check out over there at Moore. All right, going farther north a little bit more, well, I say we'll go west. You got Justin over there at Westminster. Hey, he's got his Christmas stock in. If you guys want a four-wheeler or any of those cool things, he also sells that on top of what he's doing with the hobby. All right, go ahead, check out Justin. He does his 1RC. I think he does Mini Z, and he has his Monster Jam that goes on, and that's actually pretty cool. Then you have all the way up north, Graham Hill with LRC. And yeah, they're doing great up there with their 8-scale program. Again, I still got to get up there. I still got to go meet up with Graham and stuff and pick his brain on these technos here. But other than that, He is doing well. They just had a good big race, pretty cool turnout and stuff. And speaking of races, golly, on top of Matt Kyle's race this coming weekend, Rifle, all the way, I want to say all the way west. It's like almost a 4-hour drive from here. They got their 8-scale big race going on. So yeah, we got a couple drivers going out there. Hey, Jonas, if you're watching, hey, good luck out there. I hope, you know, safe travels as well too, because I know you're driving through all the mountains and stuff like that. But the weather's not going to be too, we'll see. But again, I hope you guys have a great time out there over at Rifle racing at that 8-scale track that they are setting up. But today, we're going to get into a little bit of the e-truggy and the nitro truggy and the differences that I've seen so far dealing with them, tinkering with them, so on and so forth, getting the stuff that's needed for them. And I'll tell you what, man, two totally different worlds. My experience has always been with electric. I have very, very, very little of nitro dealing with my Hyper 7 Hobalt, and I only drove that in a golf course and stuff, like I said in previous videos. So I don't know much about nitro. All I know is pull, start, glow plug, and go. And didn't know anything of the tuning aspect, so on and so forth, the fuels, and I'm still very, very green on it. So please please bear with me. But my experience so far with them, I'll go ahead and show you guys so far what I've dealt with already. All right. So with the 8-scale e-truggy here, and these both of these models are the 2.0 technos. All right. So there's already been a 2.1, and currently is the 2.2. Right now, these are the 2.0s, and again, both great models. Even though they're older and stuff like that, they're still great. They're still doing what they're supposed to be doing, so on and so forth. All right. And then we have, again, the nitro truggy right here. This is a TP special. This is a Thomas Prindle special right here. So I think he drove this for a little bit until he got his 2.2, and I ended up getting it from him. And yeah, I wanted to give my hand at trying nitro. But as you already see, the biggest differences between the two, obviously, one is electric and one is nitro. And everything with your electronics and where your motors go and what batteries you're using are all different. We're going to go through that real quick, all right? So I'm not going to spend too much time on it. Obviously, you guys do know. But with my e-buggy so far, still pretty much almost the same chassis. I think that is the same chassis. No, it is not the same chassis because of where the holes are drilled, just now looking at it. But obviously the e-truggy, the servo sits here straight on top of this, and then you got your ESC and then your motor. Obviously the receiver box with the transponder and my diff. All right, and my battery sits right here. So the battery offsets the weight of this, and then pretty much everything else is pretty much the same, i.e. the diff, the drive shafts, and your front and rear with your diffs, your arms, and your springs, so on and so forth. So that's pretty much the similar portion of it. Then we get into nitro, and again, nitro has been such a different world for me. I'm still learning it. I was talking with John yesterday about my stuff, whatnot, and obviously you have your motor on this side with your fuel, your battery or receiver box. It could be either way, which way you want with your weight bias. Right now I got my receiver in the back and my battery will go up here. And then running dual servos, one for throttle and brake, and then one for steering, obviously, and then my power switch. Again, the battery pack that's used on this is way smaller than what is used on this. And it's a small little hump pack that will probably go in here. Still waiting on mine. That's just to power up the electronics, okay? Not to power a motor or anything. Again, obviously it's nitro. And I tell you what, the price differences on these are ridiculous, all right? So those that are getting into 8-scale, I highly, highly suggest a truggy as your first starter vehicle. One, they are wider, they are a little bit longer, and they have a better contact patch. One, because the tires are obviously bigger, and they're much more forgiving to drive than the buggy itself. And we're not going to go into that right now. Right now we're sticking between the electric and the nitro itself. But again, if you're getting into 8-scale, go with the truggy, all right? Now, The cons of that is that the wheels play the big price difference between it, but at the end of the day, my personal opinion, I'm not eating as much tires with the truggy as I am to the buggy. And again, we'll talk about that in a later video. But the difference between these two, the e-truggy and the nitro truggy, obviously being one's nitro and one's electronic, I want to say there's a big difference to me, in my opinion, is nitro costs more. All right, with e-buggy, I see max of 10-minute runs, and that's pretty much for the battery packs. I've seen 6,000, 65, and 7,500. I'm using a 7,500 battery pack and in 4S fashion, and it lasts me great. All right, and then obviously running a 2,200 kV motor, and then a high torque servo, and then we'll also get into that between the two as well too. But again, you're not refueling your e-buggy as you are with your nitro, and I'll tell you what, 99.9% of your races with the e-truggy or the e-buggy is going to be around 10 minutes. All right. Now with nitro, you'll see your 5-minute qualifiers to 15-minute qualifiers, and then you'll see 10-minute races all the way up to 45-minute races. I'm watching one right now. I want to say I'm watching the Pro Nitro Buggy right now, and they're at 34-minute mark right now. So obviously, I want to say it did start at 45 minutes, but I'm not sure. I barely just turned my head right now watching it. But again, that is when I say nitro costs more. The motors, oh my goodness, the motors range from, I want to say, the lowest 250, and they can go up over $1,500. All right, depending on what motor you get. And then obviously you're replenishing with fuel, and it depends where you go to get your fuel. There's VP, there's Trax, and so on and so forth, nitro, so on. So there's different types of fuels, different types of blends and stuff like that on your percents and what to use. And then it comes down to what servo you're using for throttle, what servo you're using for steering, and then again, there's just so much that goes into it. And then to get the nitro going, obviously you need a glow plug starter here, and then you need a bump box. Most people don't even, I want to say, racers these days, nobody uses pull start anymore. I think I've seen one person use a pull start, but everybody's using a bump box, and that all adds up. Bump boxes can go from $60 all the way up to close to about $150. Your glow plug igniter and stuff like that can go from $5 all the way up to $50. And then on top of that, you got your fuel bottles, which can again range from $7. Getting a fuel gun can be all the way up to $70, $80 for your fuel gun, depending on how fast you want fuel in and stuff like that. And that's pretty much the stuff that's needed initially to get started off with nitro. All right. Do I have any of that stuff? No. Again, I am still learning, and there's so much again going on. The tune pipes, the tune header. There's a lot that goes into nitro. 3-port, 6-port, 5-port, 7-port. There's so many different engine variations. It's hard to go off of where. It's hard to gauge off where to start off from. So watching John and stuff like that, he has the same motor, FPO2, and I felt that, and that motor came from Tom Prindle too. That motor, I think, did exceptionally well, and yeah, and I have that motor as I got it, as I got the chassis from Tom. So I'm just like, all right, I'm super stoked on that. Again, there's a lot that goes into the nitro motor. You got your clutch belt, changing the bearings all the time. You got your clutch shoes, what clutch shoes to use. So there's a lot of things that play into the nitro world. And again, the adjustments, oh my goodness, from throttle to the brake, and it's got the dual disc brake front and rear. So you got to get those, your front and rear brake bias set up properly, so you're not, man, there's, like I said, there's so much going on with the tuning. And then that's where your additional features that come on with your controller, whether you're using a sand wall, a Futaba or a Fly Sky Noble. So there's again, then they got all their little settings of how much and this and that, and like I said, as opposed to the e-buggy, pretty much where you're just setting up your endpoints and you set your tune on your ESC, and like I said, we'll get into that. But man, they're big worlds of difference. Not to mention air filters, because that's, you know, key to horsepower is how much air you can get in, and then the fuel to supply it, and then, you know, the ignition on top of that. So again, all these key factors play together in the nitro, which makes it one. Now, when you get into nitro, it's not a one-man team. Not like how the e-truggy is. It's not a one-man team. Yeah, if you're driving 5 minutes, 6, 7 minutes, yeah, you're pretty much all by yourself. But if you get a flame out, and when I say flame out, all of a sudden your car just shuts off, the motor shuts off, and you got to restart it again. You need that one person, all right? I've seen one-man pit. I've seen two-man pits so far with my experience of being over here in Colorado Springs, my first time being over at Faster Laps, and then also over there in South Carolina. And I'll tell you what, man, there's a lot that goes on into the world of nitro. And I hear it all the time, nitro is glory, nitro is glory. And I'm like, man, there is so much work that goes into a nitro. And it's crazy how these guys keep their vehicles clean afterwards. Because I'm going to tell you right now, nitro, as compared to the e-truggy or the e-buggy, I tell you right now, is very dirty. You can also get that one pit person that misses the fuel and gets fuel all up in here, and I'll tell you right now, it creates a whole mess, because when you're driving through dirt, you're driving through all that clay, it collects up in here. Then you got to take apart everything and then clean everything piece by piece, and then yeah, which is not too bad for those that don't mind cleaning up their vehicles and bringing them back to showroom condition again. Hey, more props to you guys. I'm in that boat as well too. I like making my stuff look good and clean, and it helps me look for anything that may be loose, bent, or broke. All right, so again, I thoroughly go through all my stuff. But again, nitro is a totally different world. Aside from this being the same as the e-truggy, from front to back, or the rear, and then this all being the same. But again, oh man, the everything is, the difference is all right there. And man, I'll tell you right now, I cannot wait to drive this thing. I cannot wait to get this thing all dirty. But it came down talking to my son. I was like, you know what, son? I'll probably have you drive nitro and I'll pit for you. All right. So that's probably what will happen. I'll have Isaiah drive this and I'll pit for him. And again, there's so much that goes into the nitro world of the other little things that is needed. Obviously, you're going to need your transponder, but how are you going to communicate with your driver? I've seen headsets, I've seen people yell at each other, and then 99.9% of everybody has a headset. So I was just talking about you, son, that I'm going to have you drive truggy, and then I'll pit for you and stuff like that. So that way, we'll get this all situated for Isaiah. I'll probably drive it a little bit just to make sure that what we're doing and everything is good to go, and I'll probably have the help of my peers and stuff that are also drive nitro as well too, and then I'll probably have Graham take a look at this. But other than that, that is pretty much all I know of nitro, of the cost, obviously, which is way more than the e-truggy. All right, I want to say at least on average, right? If you go with the intermediate style of stuff, not going all out crazy with nitro, as opposed with the e-truggy, I want to say you can probably be around the same area, but at the end of the day, again, nitro is always going to cost more. The bump box, the glow plug igniter, the fuel bottle, all the extra things that you need. The headset, if you end up getting a headset, I don't even know what the prices of the headsets are. I've seen Bose headsets, I've seen some other headsets out there, but it all comes down to what you want, and I know a lot of people want to get the top tier stuff. But again, we are budget friendly over here. We're trying to be budget friendly and do a lot of things and stuff like that. But again, for people that are getting into nitro, again, do your homework. Do your homework. I am not your homework. I am trying to give you an idea of what to expect and what not to expect. Again, nitro, in my opinion, costs more. Again, electronic, an e-motor, I want to say probably between 150 all the way up to 250 bucks, as to where these are starting off around 250 and going all the way up over $1,000 for nitro motors. And then obviously your ESC, again, it all comes down to between, I want to say that 150 mark all the way up to that 250 mark with your ESC. And all you need is one servo. But with truggy, you need a high ounce torque or high ounce weight motor. So I want to say with this one I am running the ProTech, and this one I am running Reefs, and I am a big fan of Reefs because I run Reefs in my 10 scale, and the guys over at Reefs took care of me. Talking with them, they just moved into their new location over there in California, so now they got their own building instead of renting a building, so which is actually pretty cool. And then from what I was told is you want a very heavy duty throttle brake servo, so I went ahead with a 60 kg servo on that one. So again, I don't know if it's overkill or not. It was just, that was totally advised to me on two different ends, so I was like, all right, I took heed to that. Again, the battery for this one, again, ranging from $135 all the way close to $200 depending on which battery you go with. 4S wise, again, you got other platforms out there that run dual 2S packs, and again, those can, you know, again, you'll be up in the 160 depending on what batteries you get and stuff. So, oh, that's pretty cool. Yes. So, yeah, there's a lot that goes into that, and then once you get your e-buggy set up, you get it all tuned, it's pretty much you drive. All right, and you charge up your battery, no different from 110 or anything else that's electronic. You charge your battery, you check all your stuff, and you go. Nitro, oh my goodness, you got to play with AFRs, your air fuel ratio and stuff like that. There's a lot. And then being up here at high altitude as opposed to being down there in South Carolina, man, two totally different worlds. So the tuning is a lot more different. Okay, so those are a lot of factors. Also, the fuel plays a big difference too. What percent fuel to use. So again, I highly advise, get with your peers, people that are racing at the track. I'm going to tell you right now, anybody and everybody will help you out no matter what. Okay, more the merrier is what it is, and we all want to be on that same level of playing field where we're all driving that tight pat racing, and I love that personally. All right, so I can't wait to get out there this weekend, October 12th, over at Matt Kyle's Faster Laps, and do some laps out there with my son, who's gonna race his e-truggy for the first time. All right, that's a TP special. This one's a TP special. So again, those are pretty much the big differences between the two. Obviously, one being nitro, one being battery powered and stuff like that, electronic, and again, there's a lot that goes into it. And then also the battery for the nitro battery, I want to say there's only like so many different, there's so few companies out there that are making the battery for this the box style for the Techno, and I'm not sure how it goes for Associated, S-Works, Mayeko, Losi or whatnot. I just know that this uses a specific style battery, and again, that's pretty much the only thing you're charging up. And I highly advise with your receiver batteries, get two of them. So you have one as backup just in case one gets too low and stuff, and that's what you want. All right. With these ones, you don't need a receiver battery. Your 4S battery powers everything, and again, hence why your qual runs are between 5 to 8 minutes, and then obviously your race mains are always 10 minutes with these ones. But again, these go up to 45 minutes. Right now, as we've been talking, right now they're at the 22 mark, the 22-minute mark, because they're coming in, pitting, refueling, and going. Coming in, pitting, refueling, and going. I talked to a couple drivers. I talked to John yesterday. He goes through, I want to say he can make it up to 8 minutes before he refuels again. Again, that all comes down to the fuel consumption, what tires he's using, how much power he's putting through, so on. So there's a lot. again, a lot that goes into nitro, and again, I am still very, very, very green on it. I am still learning. So what better way to learn what the FPO2 from Flashpoint? Basically, it is an LS motor, and this one's only got a gallon of fuel through it, so it's pretty much broken in already. It's already at the top peak of its break-in, and yeah, I can't wait to get driving on this, and then put it in Isaiah's hands and see how well he does with it as I pit him. So we're both going to be learning on this. Again, I will be heading up my peers, Swervin, John, Big Rich, Tom, of how they're working their stuff or whatnot. So I cannot wait. And that's so far all my knowledge of the nitro as opposed to the e-truggy and stuff like that. Again, I highly advise, if you're getting into 8-scale racing, go ahead, look into the e-truggy, and then follow up with the e-buggy if you like it a lot. These are so forgiving to drive. Then if you just want to get into the buggy, highly again, go with the e-buggy. Don't jump directly right into nitro if you don't have no knowledge of nitro. Again, I got very, very, very little to none of nitro when it comes to racing. My only experience is hanging out with those guys, James Hart, Justin Simonson, Joe, and them, just watching them and learning from them, and then my races around and stuff. So again, it's been pretty cool watching it. And I'll tell you right now, as they say, nitro is glory. So I have not experienced that yet. And when we get there, oh man, I tell you right now, I will let you guys know my experience with it, the glory, I guess, as they say. All right. But other than that, Pikes Peak RC Arena race news around the nation. That is so far it between these two platforms. Like I said, there's many platforms out there. Losi has theirs. HB has theirs. Team Associated, which I am a big fan of, has theirs. Again, you cannot go wrong with either. Now, if you want to get an e-truggy that's nitro powered, I got my homeboy Jonas has his for sale. If you guys are interested in a nitro e-truggy slider, all right, I do have Jonas who is selling one. So hit me up. I will send you pictures, and then I'll guide you straight to Jonas for those that are looking for one. There's also a couple on Facebook Marketplace as well too. If you guys are looking for a e-buggy or e-truggy or nitro in both fashions, there are a couple on Facebook Marketplace. I want to say there is a brand new boxed up EB48 2.2, which is that right there, for sale unassembled on Facebook Marketplace for $500. And I'm gonna tell you right now, that is a $699 machine as we speak right now for that Techno 2.2. So you are getting a great deal. You're pretty much getting like $200 off if you do jump on it. So I highly advise for those that are wanting to get into the 8-scale racing, there's an EB48 2.2 for sale, boxed up, not assembled, for sale right now for $500. All right. Now keep in mind, you still got to get all your electronics to get it going. Your IE, your servo, your motor, your ESC, and pretty much the motor that most people go with is either the 1900 or the 2000 or the 2050. All right. So either of those, depending on what track you're on, really. But for Matt Kyle's track, for those that just want to go out every month or so to drive 8-scale, the 1900 will do perfect. All right. So again, comes down to preference, whether it be Tekin, Hobby Wing, Exalt, whatever you want to use to your heart's desire. Hey, those electronics are there for you guys. All right. Again, that is my knowledge between the nitro and the battery. The power between the two, again, I am still learning on nitro. I'm getting my stuff situated right now. Again, I just mounted both my servos last night to include the electronic switch, and waiting on the battery and waiting on a couple other things. I still have not have a bump box yet or a glow plug igniter. Again, it's still very, very fresh to me, and I'll probably have everything by next season. All right, but for the season that's about to close up here shortly, my focus is on the e-buggy and obviously the e-truggy and the e-truggy for my son, and then we'll get hot onto it next year when that kicks off. All right. So again, Pikes Peak RC Arena race news around the nation. I am Robbie to give you guys that latest and greatest news, and I hope you guys have a great weekend of racing over in Rifle, over here at Matt Kyle's, and everywhere else. Hey, we will see you guys there. I am Robbie. We will see you guys later.
All right, let's